Did you know that the majority of New Year's resolutions fail within the first 2 weeks? There's a reason for that. Because we are not meant to be taking massive action in the middle of winter time. And we just experienced the solstice, which is the 21st of December, 1221. And at that time, solstice means the sun stands still, which is a form of a retrograde and happens for about 3 days where it appears in the sky as we perceive the sun, that the sun is standing still. And at that moment, it marks the beginning of winter. And it also is when the nights begin growing longer. So that is the longest night of the year. Or rather, I'm sorry, it's the longest night of the year. And the sun is reborn and the days begin to get longer until the equinox in the springtime. And so if you are following the true seasons, the natural ebbs and flows and cycles and tides of the planet, instead of working against it, then now is not the time when I would be personally trying to take massive action, setting New Year's intentions and trying to get in the gym. So if it's not the time for that, then what is it the time for? So this time, the time of winter, is a time of slowing down. It's a time of death. Everything around us outside is decaying. The annuals are on their way out. They've fruited, they've seeded for the continuation of life in springtime, but they are not birthing new life now. Instead, we see rose bushes are blooming for the final and last times before in spring when they're going to be trimmed and cut back so that the new growth can occur. So this is a time of reflection, slowing down, reflecting upon what has happened in our lives. And this is a time of reviewal, inner inquiry, gratitude for what has transpired, for what has happened, what you've birthed, what you've created, what's fruited in your life since the springtime. This is a time of going within. And I'm going to share with you some of my favorite rituals and some of the things that I was inspired to do in this energy of renewal, of creating space, letting go of what no longer serves us. So I'm going to share with you my rituals and the things that I've done in this season that are really supported me in getting, just creating space and diving into deep gratitude and appreciation and so much more. So the first thing that I was inspired to do a couple of days ago was to begin cleansing the energy of my space. And what that looked like for me was I was needing renewal. I was needing refreshed energy because my space had been set 3 years ago and it essentially looked the same for the last 3 years. So I did some research on feng shui and I read that I was facing the west, which is a watery element of feminine energy. And if I face the east, which to me I associate with the air element and the mind, mental clarity, I can gain greater mental clarity, higher energy. It's a more actionable energy rather than facing the west. And so I have now switched my desk, my space. So I'm facing a different direction, which has completely changed the energy of the entire room. I then went and reorganized every single altar, completely took it apart and cleansed it, and then just reset all the altar spaces in my room, including this one here. And I cleansed the crystals and set up new crystal grids. So that felt really good. It felt really expansive to just create some change, some newer energy in that way, to just feel cleansed and reset in this space. It brought in some new inspiration for me. Another thing that me and my whole family have been inspired to do in different ways is to purge and get rid of things that you aren't using. So I went through my closet and my stuff and gave and donated a lot of items My mom did the same, went through her closet, found out that my sister was also inspired. She went through her attic with her husband and they got rid of a bunch of stuff. My dad was getting rid of stuff out of the garage. My other brother got rid of some stuff as well. So it is the season of letting go, purging, getting rid of, because you have to make space. You have to make space for what it is that you want to receive. If you are calling in new, fresh transformation, then you need to make space for that in your life. So purging at this time, getting rid of anything that is maybe indicative of a past version of you that you are appreciative of, but letting go of, and just allowing yourself the space to get rid of anything that maybe just energetically isn't aligned with what you're stepping into for 2025 and beyond. So another thing after the rearrangement of the space, the resetting of all of my altars, I then, this is my favorite journal and planner, and I use this all throughout the year, and this is by Freedom Mastery, and I'll share the link for this, but Freedom Mastery, it is just really a fantastic organizational, it's a more masculine, I like to say, it appeases to my masculine energy of structure and organization. You're setting goals. It's got this, it's just such a great, I'll show you here. It's just such a great planner to begin with. It talks about, the law of vibration, healthy habits that support you in your self-care. You get really clear on the goals in your life. You're trying to create harmony on all levels. There's a lot of important reflection exercises where you're getting clear on where you are now, where you're going, how you get there. It allows you to set goals and break and chunk those goals down into smaller steps. You're creating a life statement, a gratitude statement. I've had this planner for like 6 years. And I'm going to be honest, I don't do all the sections every year, but I have done all the sections multiple years. And then I pick the sections that feel aligned or need editing, because really it's just kind of an ongoing thing with small adjustments, is what I've realized. So yeah, you get into skills you want to master and achieve and things that you want to change. And, you're creating a new story. I mean, just some great, amazing tools in here. In addition to the planner aspect where you can keep track of your entire life. And I always do mine with colored pens, by the way. I love colored pens. They keep the brain engaged. It helps connect these more left brain activities of analytical processing to the creative side of your right brain. So anyways, I got this out, and they have, so first what I did is and you can do this anywhere. You can grab, and this is inspired by one of my coaches, my old coaches and mentors, Jolie Dawn. So you take your planner or any piece of paper and you chunk it into 4 sections. And then you can do it on larger paper as well. And so what you're doing is you are going through your calendar, through your planner, through the photos in your photo album, through your social media stories and posts. And you are essentially documenting everything that happened month by month and reflecting upon everything that happened, all of the events that you went to, the things that you created and participated in, the experiences that were had, family birthday parties, all these really retreats that maybe you went on or facilitated, and all these just really cool, like different healing sessions, big events like Solar Punk Summit that I went to. And so I had 2 big long trips in Austin. I went to Mount Shasta and facilitated a retreat there. I facilitated a rewilding retreat. I mean, you just start to really realize how much sometimes we can get down on ourselves and believing that we didn't do enough or that we're not taking enough action. And when you reflect in this way, you are anchoring into really beautiful gratitude and appreciation for the journey that is unfolded. And then you get to reflect upon these experiences with gratitude and appreciation, and really around the hard and challenging ones too, around what you learned and how you grew, and just really getting everything out of the year and the experiences that happened during this year. So after I went through all of the months and wrote down all of the things, then I went to a reflect upon my year, which you can do one of these yourself, and you can see I'm not quite done yet. But then it goes and it asks, was I in harmony in the different areas of my life? Was I in harmony with on a scale of 1 to 10 in my career, in finance, in a scale of 1 to 10, personal growth on a scale of 1 to 10, health, family, relationship, social life, attitude. So you could write all of those things down yourself and then scale yourself. And then the next question, and I love this, there's a quote from Oprah Winfrey that says, the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is to celebrate in life. So then it was celebrate my top 10 achievements. So I wrote down my top 10 achievements, and then it says to close your eyes and visualize and be grateful for each one of those achievements, the things that have happened this year that I've gotten to do, create, experience. What did I learn this year? 5 things. What were 5 of my most happiest, empowering moments? What events impacted me the most? What were the most challenging situations from this year, and how did I grow from them? I mean, these are just really great reflection questions. And that's what this season is about. It's about inner reflection, much more than it is about then taking action and setting intentions. So this is what I recommend that you do at this time of year, not go sign up for the gym and start trying to work out for the first time unless you feel really inspired to do so. But if you've tried that in the past and it just simply has not worked for you, or you've gotten burnt out, it's because you quite likely are more in sync with the natural seasons of the lands in which you are inhabiting, which is the opposite for the Southern Hemisphere, right? Because they're in a summertime right now, and they switch. So, but if you're more in sync with the lands in which you were anchored into, then it might not feel expansive or aligned to start taking massive action right now. And that is okay, my loves. That is okay. You have permission, because the Gregorian calendar is a distortion. It just is. It is not built and designed to work in harmony with the natural order of Mother Nature. And we don't have to get into the why, but it's just not. And when you know that and you begin to look at different other systems, for example, the equinoxes and solstices, and becoming aware of how that seasonally is impacting you, understanding the different seasons. There's a season in the springtime to plant the seeds of desire. That is the time to plant the seeds and begin watering them. And until then, we're now in reflection, wrapping up, closing out cycles, anchoring and closing out the things that have happened, anything that's no longer meant for us, that we don't want to carry with us into the springtime. It's like weeding the garden bed so that the soil is fresh and the new things that are seeded have the space to grow. So we're in the season of death, decay, rebirth, of reflection. So some other questions that you can ask yourself are, what were your 5 biggest strengths and weaknesses this year? What were the greatest insights that you gained over this past year? What little things did you enjoy most in your day-to-day life? How did you love, give, or contribute this year to yourself or others? And actually, you know what? I actually have a resource that I will link as well that has these questions, so you guys don't have to write them all down, which I'm sure will be helpful. So I'll share that resource with you. What are you most grateful for this year? And what do you still want to release or let go of? What or who do you want to forgive? Perhaps letting go of anger or frustration So I really love that. And then it does say to design your next year, but I say we don't do that right now. That is not the season. To design our next year, I say you allow that to percolate, Focus on this inner reflection, focus on gratitude and appreciation for what you already have. We go so quickly from like this season of gratitude, Thanksgiving and Christmas, where we're receiving, all of a sudden to in this actionable doing. And again, this is a time to still reflect, to be still, to go inward. And so if you're not feeling actionable, if you then sit in gratitude, melt in gratitude, savor the fruit of what has birthed and grown over this year, what you've gotten to experience, and allow that to feed you and nourish you, and know that you can then start tuning in the coming month through January into what it is that you do want to begin actioning. And as you start to feel that shift and that expansion and this desire to be in action mode, then you can go out there and start actioning. But if you're not feeling that right now, then trust that you're probably more organically aligned with this natural cycles and seasons of the planet. And so I invite you to work in conjunction with that instead of against it, because as a woman, especially, we have monthly cycles that we navigate at an energetic and hormonal level. And so we have these 4 seasons condensed into a month. So I really learned how to work in conjunction with the natural seasons of my inner world and the external world through which we are interconnected into and within, so that I could be in greater flow and experience greater ease rather than working against the tide, which is oftentimes what we're doing, especially if we're trying to be in action mode when it's still reflection mode. You're working against the natural energy as everything around us is decaying in the north, as we're in winter, trying to like plant a seed and water it and getting upset as to why it's not growing is what so many of us are doing. And then we get down on ourselves and we get shameful, and we're like, why couldn't I stick with it? Why couldn't I stay dedicated and motivated to make this change and do these habit changes, or to go to the gym, or to eat better? And it's like, oh goodness, well, we blame ourselves and we're so hard on ourselves. And the reality is most of us are working against the natural energy that's available to us. We're working against nature, natural law. So I just wanted to share that with you. Okay, and then the last and final thing that I did, which was really supportive for me personally, was I consulted the oracle cards. I went to my myriad of beautiful decks that I have, and okay, maybe there's 2 things. So I went to my decks and I did card pulls, and I pulled some cards that were either energies that I needed to reflect upon and work upon, or energies that were more thematic for my 2025. And it was so helpful. I really loved what came through, and it was greater and deeper reflection that was more pointed for the energy of me and what I'm navigating right now. And for me, it was a card that asked me, how can I commit more to my life, to life in general? And I think that's an incredible question. How can we commit more to life? And a lot of great things came through for me in that response. And then the other question was, how can I call in more support? How can I call in more support? And what is holding me right now? Which for me, that's my family. My family is my support team. But how can I call in more support, which was great for me to reflect upon. And there's some friends that I'm going to reach out to for some support, which is hard for, I think, most of us. The other question that came forward was, how can I be more gentle with myself? How can I show myself more love and compassion? And I can be hard on myself, and maybe you guys are like me, and maybe you too are hard on yourself. And you come to the end of the year like this, and you're like, oh my gosh, I had all these goals, these ambitions, these dreams, these things that I said that I was going to do and accomplish, and I didn't do half of it. And then you feel like you are lazy, or just, why weren't you feeling motivated? Why didn't you have the capacity? And then you do a practice like I did, and you're like, wow, you healed a lot. You did do way more than you realized that you did. And so, yeah, how can we be more gentle with ourselves and more compassion and more love, and be more proud of ourselves and pat ourselves in the back and be our number one support person? And so then the last and final question for the inquiry that I got, which I really, again, great questions, was what in my life is not aligned? What in my life is not aligned? What needs to change? What is no longer aligned with the person that I be, the frequency that I be, the life that I'm choosing for myself? And so there is a lot there for me, and I'm sure you can reflect upon a lot there for you too, and around maybe habits, things that you want to change, you want to do better, maybe more commitment, more devotion, more focus, more masculine energy of action. Maybe it's just greater self-love. Be more gentle with ourselves. So, and I got some other really great cards around, again, just my energy and frequency of what I'm embodying in this year. And what I loved is, for me, it is action oriented. For me, it's an action oriented year. And so, for me, it was shine your light, shining my light into the world, my wisdom, my love, my gifts, sharing it more, showing up more than I have ever before, and speaking my truth. So speaking with integrity, and sharing and teaching and showing up more, like on platforms like this, just sharing, coming on to just share vulnerably and authentically, just a stream of consciousness, which is what I prefer. I hope you guys are okay with that, because this is what I prefer, just a stream of consciousness. And finally, transformation, which I feel like is just one of my number one values, like always being on this journey of radical self-transformation and enjoying it and really loving that, not feeling burdened by it, but like recognizing that that's what I'm here for. I'm here for transformation, to reclaim power and alchemize my pain into my power and strength, and to transmute. Great alchemists. The other cards I got were Counselor, Courage, and Crystal Clear Intentions. So I took this question also as guided by, I took a lot of different inspired practices. And so I took this question, like, what is my intention to bring into the New Earth experience through, in the frequency of God, right? And as aligned with, in alignment with God, as God, and co-creation with God. What is it that I want to birth and bring into an experience in the New Earth and in 2025? And so I just let a bunch of things come through, and then just felt into and ruminated on it. And so here's kind of my list that came through, all those different things. And then I came to the intention conclusion of aligned action for myself this year. So aligned action is my word. It's my intention. It's what I'm anchoring into and going to gravitate back to throughout 2025. And aligned action, I was like, okay, well, I got to get clear on what that means to me. What does aligned action mean to me? So to me, aligned action came through as heart-centered, God or higher self guided guidance. So aligned, being aligned with God's will, directed, focused, intentional action, disciplined, committed, consistent, and devoted action. So aligned action. So the two main pieces of it is that it's one, aligned with source. It's aligned with a higher power. It is in divine co-creation, serving the greatest good of all. And I'm being guided by this higher power to take action. So it's inspired action. It's aligned action. It's aligned with my highest aspect of being. And then the second piece being is this like disciplined, committed, devoted, directed, intentional, right? Like there is a focus, there's an intention, there's somewhere where we're going. And I am focused and intentional and devoted to this path, taking this aligned action. And then what it came through for me as well for me for aligned action was acting as God. Acting as God. To me, acting as God is acting as love, acting with wisdom and power, centered in the heart. And so I had to get clear, right? This exploration of getting more clear on what do these things mean to me? So when I think of aligned action, I'm essentially programming this intention of aligned action. I'm programming it with all of this into it. So when I say aligned action, this is what I mean by aligned action as my intention. Because what do these things mean to us? So then I got clear on what are aligned actions. What are some aligned actions I can take in this year? And communicating, speaking, sharing my wisdom, sharing my truth. Again, a lot of this repeat pieces of what I'd already tuned into when I did the oracle drawings, the oracle cards, and like the deeper reflections on that. So this has been my practices, my rituals that have turned into a multiple day kind of ceremony to bring forth and birth and prepare for this time of year, this winter time. And so for me, I'll go over it one more time. It included first reorganizing my space so that I could feel more inspired. Having a different direction that I'm facing that's more aligned with the energy of what I'm trying to do. Just being more intentional and getting to clear my altars and clear my crystal grids with new intentions. And so just getting to create new energy in my space in that way, and purging and getting rid of things that don't serve me anymore, and just getting to donate and give that away. So that was the first thing. The second thing was creating the grid and reflecting, going through my calendars, going through my photos, going through my social media posts, and writing all the things down that I did that year. Any of the really cool experiences I had, or anything that just really feels relevant and important to write down. Different, events with the family, just dinners with friends, goddess circle events, larger festivals, going to Mount Shasta. These are things on my list. So getting really clear on and writing it all down, reflecting upon it month by month, and just being in pure gratitude and appreciation for all the amazing things that you did this year, the amazing experiences you have, even being in gratitude and appreciation for the challenging ones that you grew and learned from, and offered you an opportunity to grow and learn and get stronger and more resilient. And so reflecting upon month by month in gratitude and appreciation. Then there's the list of questions that you can go even deeper into your exploration. What did I learn? What were my greatest strengths? What were some of the most challenging times and difficult times? What am I most grateful for? What are my most proud achievements in this last year? And just getting to reflect upon the seeds of creation and everything that was birthed, and deep, again, further gratitude and appreciation. So getting to answer questions of reflection that allow you to go even deeper, and now that you are really aware of what happened that year. So then the next thing is, for me, I did an oracle card pull, and I drew, I think, 4, 5, like 8, 9 cards from a few different decks that just help guide me to go even deeper with some questions, and just to kind of tune into the energy and frequency of what I'm birthing into this next year. Just some cards of just got more guidance, more wisdom. And then the next thing, getting, what is my intention? What did I want my 2025 intention to be? Sometimes people say 1 word, but I like 1 word, 2 word, 3 words max. But what was that intention going to be? So letting myself kind of drill further into that until I came up with aligned action, and then getting clear on, okay, what does aligned action mean to me? And essentially programming that intention of aligned action with all of this greater information, kind of like a sigil or any form of a sacred geometry. It doesn't have the meanings is in depth and incredibly intricate. It's far beyond. And so we can then and intend through our will and power this intention to be much more complex. And the more clear we get on what these things mean to us and the meaning behind them, and what the program of the meaning in our body, then and more intentional by it, more focused in our intention, the more powerful co-creators we become. So I was able to take aligned action and go really deep with that as well. So those were my practices. Those were some of my rituals. I don't go into, yes, aligned action is my intention, but that doesn't mean I'm going to start taking massive action tomorrow. And it might feel inspired to do so, and that's okay as well. But again, working in conjunction with the natural ebbs and flows and cycles that of our planet, and where you reside on the planet, and the area in which you are anchored into and co-creating within. So I hope this is helpful for you. Please let me know about some of your rituals, the things that you do during this time or haven't been inspired to do at this time. Burn rituals are a great way to release, let go, to clear the energy. Forgiveness is really important at this time because we want to close out those karmic cycles. What you stay angry about will only continue to manifest in this life or another until you can find forgiveness and love in your heart. So what you resist persists until the lesson is learned, my love. So if there's any body or anything, including yourself, that you need to forgive at this time to dissolve those karmic ties and those imprints, then it is truly the path to your freedom. And all of life is always mirroring back to you exactly what you need in each now moment, as above, so below, as within, so without. So if you can literally treat every moment of every day as an opportunity to mirror back and grow and evolve as you just become the conscious observer of your ego's responses and reactions to the world in which you live in. So I love you guys so much. Let me know if you like more videos like this. This one was very organic, very green, but I know as I do more of these, I get more comfortable. And as I get more comfortable, they get better. I get better. So I love you.